We need to have protective measures around us. You need to make this a part of your practice, okay? So every morning when you're getting embodied, when you're really becoming in touch with what's here present, create a golden bubble, like an invisible golden bubble shield around you with mirrors around it that will deflect anything that's less than love, light, energy, anything less than your good for your higher self. We're saying we don't want it. That way it helps preserve your own energy as well. And nothing can come like kind of siphon from you, because that's happening. And this happens a lot with, especially if we're empaths, right? We've been talking about that a little bit. Highly sensitive people, empaths, there's so much in the field energetically right now. So even if we speak to no one, but that's not really going to happen, right? If we have our days and we're like living a life as a recluse and we speak to no one, we're still impacted by the energy in the collective fields. Now you add in traffic, now you add in like going to shops, seeing family, talking to clients, meeting with people, right? And friends. Everybody's having a part of this energetic exchange that you're experiencing. So this isn't a recommendation for everybody. Protect your energy, ensure, and this isn't to say like no harm, no negative anything, but just to protect yourself and ensure that you're staying in the highest level frequency for your highest good, and only what is meant for you will come to you if it is for your highest good. So
Welcome to the Wholesome Healing Collective.
Join us on our podcast for a journey into the hearts of healers from all walks of life, diving deep as we explore meaningful conversations that have the power to inspire, empower, and share life-changing wisdom.
Through this community, we hope to create a welcoming environment where our listeners leave feeling nurtured and uplifted. We are so delighted you are here. My name is Alyssa.
And I'm Renee. Grab a drink, get cozy, and let's dive in.
Welcome back to another episode of the Wholesome Healing Collective podcast. We are so honored to have our guest here, Leilani, today. She is a mystic, a Master Akashic Records Practitioner, an energy healer, a medium, and a spiritual advisor. She guides others to heal, see their raw truth, claim their power, and find the inspiration and clarity they need to create divinely guided magical possibilities in life. At her core, Leilani believes that in aligning with our highest selves, we can heal and make better choices that lead to an extraordinary life. That is such a beautiful bio. I love that.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, ladies.
Yeah, we're going to be talking all about Akashic Record readings. But before we dive in, I'd love to ask you our signature question. What is your favorite self-care practice?
It's nature walks. Nature walks, communing with spirit in nature is my favorite thing to do. I feel so grounded and centered, and I love fresh air, and I love my conversations with spirit. So it's my favorite thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sounds so juicy.
I always feel the most connected when I'm in nature, and especially amongst the trees.
Yes, I love the trees.
Amazing. Well, I love to ask about origin stories when we have guests with these amazing modalities, and I'm always so curious to know what led you to them or what led them to you.
I love that. It's interesting. I've always been intuitive. I've always been connected with spirit. But when I was younger, it kind of scared me because I didn't quite know what I was feeling or how to articulate it. And I just kind of ignored some of the things I was sensing and feeling, like spirits in the room, and just kind of hid from it, right? Kind of rejected and denied it. And then just kind of accepted like who I was intuitively, like, oh, I just kind of knew things, and that's just who I am. But when you experience life, you already feel a bit other, right? Just in general, right? You're having this experience and you feel pretty alone in it. So it was never, I never really spoke about it. And I had my dark night of the soul when I was 22. Some really big things happened to me, and I experienced it for a couple of years. And I had different inflection points in my life that took me deeper into higher consciousness and my own connection with spirit. But doing this work, and specifically coming to this work, things just kind of unearthed and happened naturally, right? I was in tech recruiting for over 15 years. I lived in the Bay Area and in New York, and I was working in startups, and I was a head of talent acquisition. And I always had this intrinsic need to be of service to people. I wanted to get into nonprofit. I've been very immersed in volunteer work, and I love people. I love learning about people. I love experiencing and discovering people and relationships. And then I just went deeper in my path in my own healing. And through that, I learned about the gifts I had and the way in which I was supposed to serve. And that felt like such a big relief, because there was always something more, and I couldn't quite grasp it until it was like, okay, divine timing and orchestration, here you go. It's ripe now. It's ready now. Here it is. And then I tested it when I started doing this work. I'm like, wait a minute, this is beyond just like my regular intuitive daily life, right? So I reached out to all my closest friends and I said, if you know anybody, boom. So I gave like 30, 40 free sessions when I started doing this work, and each one came up with the accuracy and the resonance. And, I was like, oh, okay, this life's work of going deeper in self, in communion and connection with spirit, and understanding my own relationship with spirit was a preparation for this work. And yeah, it's been so beautiful. So here I am.
Mm. That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
I love that. And I feel like so often it's such a shame when sensitive children and children with those natural capabilities don't have someone to help them navigate and understand and put words to it and know that it's okay. And then it ends up turning into something that we resent or we push away. Or speaking from me growing up being an empath and always trying to not feel, like always wanting to push that part of me away and be in my mind so that I'm not um, feeling everything that's around me. And then now the last few years, I'm trying to turn all that back on because I'm like, okay, now I can handle it. Now I have these tools. Um, so yay for us coming into these gifts and finding people to help us navigate through it, and then being able to turn back around and put our hand out for the next person that's looking for that guidance. It's so cool.
Yeah. And I think there has to be a real deep understanding of self-worth, and just coming into self, coming into your own divinity, and accepting all parts of you. And it just happened at the time that it was meant to, right? And for some it could happen earlier, for some it may happen later, but it's meant to happen. We're at the stage in our human evolution where we are meant to evolve what it is to be human. And yeah, we're all on this journey, right, to find and to walk ourselves back home in a way that through higher consciousness. So yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
And I'm curious too for our listeners who I know we've talked about Akashic Records a little bit, kind of peppered into other episodes, but maybe we could do a little origin story around that concept. I actually don't know where the practice of accessing these records came from, originated from, like when we started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to learn more about that, and I'm sure our listeners would too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that the term was coined in the 1800s by a theosophist, but it really became more popularized by this psychic medium um, in the early 1900s, Edward Casey. He really
Oh,
brought it into the
yes.
world and was speaking about it through his practice more so, but it really was like a theosophy and it was spoken about, but it's imparted in different religions in different ways. It's named as different things. Some people call it the book of life,
Mm,
right? But this idea that there is something that holds everything since and of creation that we have access to provide us resource on our path is pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible, and I think it's we as humans in the last 5 years, right? Because wellness became a thing, mental health became a thing, holistic practices became a thing, and now we're turning more into spirituality as a whole. It's part of this new earth, part of this greater awakening. And so you've been hearing it more lately, right, in the last few years, which is like, whoa, there's something familiar, and it piques curiosity because it tugs on a bit of a remembrance. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
yeah, super cool. I know I've had some pretty powerful readings, and it's incredible to not only gain the understanding as you glimpse things from the past, but also understanding what could unravel in the present, and then it actually happening. It's like, whoa,
There
super.
is, I will say this, the Akashic Records, it's all based on the foundation of love. And when people come to me, you are being given exactly what you need at this energetic time. That doesn't mean that we as humans don't have sovereignty. We don't have will to change the course of what we are being given, right? So if you receive something that's based on the energy that you hold in this moment, right? And it's not necessarily, this isn't the business of predictability, right? It's the energy that is within this space that is most held for your highest good. So that's what you're being given. And some people might confuse it as they start to do this work as like, oh, okay, here's this predictive thing that will happen to me and that I'm being given. Well, it is an option because the Akashic Records holds every potentiality and outcome, right? But it also holds all of your desires, and your desires can shift and change and move depending on where you are contextually, right? So yeah, it's
Mhm.
interesting.
Thanks for naming that. Yeah.
Do you have any tips on what kind of questions people should be asking during their reading?
I tell people, a lot of my clients now, after they do a session with me, they like to come with nothing and see how it unfolds. Um, because there's so much energy, more than likely what will happen is your questions will be answered without you even needing to ask them because you're in that energy, you're in that space. And some people like to just want to know what they're experiencing now, practically and tangibly in their lives to help them take steps forward. And some people would prefer like the bigger open, like, what's my soul's purpose? What's the truth of what I'm experiencing now? Or they can go into like, should I take this job? Is this the most beneficial for me? Right. So there is a gamut of it. Having being most don't allow your ego to lead, I guess is what I'll say, right? Because then you limit yourself and the information and wisdom and healing that can come through. And because it's an energetic experience, my expertise is healing. That's it. And this is a wholesome healing, right? Like it's all about healing to move through any imprints, any wounds, any patterns or limitations that we hold that are untruth, right? These are our untruths. So let's negate that, transmute that, release that so that we can live authentically, live as our higher selves and live in our truth. And that's what it is. And people have a little bit of fear sometimes, but you won't be given what you're not ready for. There is timing and orchestration at play always. And if you're not ready, you won't be given it. If you are ready, but in fear, trust that what comes through, you can handle, you can move through, you can carry. And just, yeah, be in that greater energy.
Mhm. That's so beautiful. Thank you.
Yes. Shall we open your records, ladies?
I'm excited.
Yes. So typically I'll take you through my process so your listeners have a little bit of a
Wonderful. Yeah.
understanding. It was wonderful how we started with breathing, because that's what I do in my practice. I always start with like a breathing, grounding exercise where we're able to open ourselves up to higher energy and ground ourselves. And then I typically do an energetic scan through your bodies to see if there's anything that we're carrying or holding, anything that needs to be shifted or moved. And then I will say a pathway prayer. I don't always say this because I'm so connected. Sometimes I might just go straight in when I'm doing somebody's energetic scan, because I could be shown to glimpses of past lives where things are stuck within their body. But I'll typically say a pathway prayer. And the first part is out loud, the second part is silent. And then I go in and I share what comes through. For people that come to me, they know that it comes through in different ways. So I typically start speaking because I also have like mediumship. There might be a loved one or a spirit guide or an angel that might come through specifically with a message. It helps just to kind of bring greater context to the energy and space. It doesn't happen all the time, only when it's needed. So I like to tell people to be open to that if that's something that resonates. And let's see how we do it today. Typically, when I do to have two or more people, it's based on the relationship that they hold with each other. So we can do that in this context, or we can do kind of separate. Up to
I
you.
think separate would be nice.
Okay. Okay. So I just invite you both to close your eyes and just taking a soft breath in through the nose. A slow exhale through the mouth. Another soft breath in. Slow, long exhale out. One last cleansing, letting go breath in. And on this release, do a deep audible sigh, letting go of all that doesn't serve you in this moment. Good. Just going deeper into your being, allowing yourself to find your natural cadence of breath. Imagining air and light moving in and through you with each inhale and each exhale. Good, and just continuing to breathe in and through your system, clearing out anything that doesn't serve you. We're releasing, transmuting across all time, dimension, space, reality, and levels of consciousness. Any and all things that does not serve your highest self now. Good. Just keep breathing through. I'm going to go ahead and open the records. Call upon source, divine masters, angels, guides, loved ones, star councils, and keepers of the Akashic records. I ask that I be one with divine truth and perfect integrity and alignment as I access Alyssa's Akashic records and Renee's Akashic records. Through grace and love, at the highest power and with the deepest gratitude, I ask for divinity to pave the way. Perfect. Okay, ladies, you can open your eyes. Your records are open. Who would like to start? Who would like to ask a question? There's already a lot coming through, but I want to keep this a little bit more organized for your listeners. Yeah, who would like to start?
I feel like what's sticking through for me is your mention of loved ones and this feeling that arose in me of like maybe there's someone that wants to talk to me.
Yeah, your mother. Um, is your mother still in this? Yeah, but
Mhm.
she's here. She's also connected. Ooh, there's a long line. This happens sometimes when somebody's higher self that is still here will
Mm.
come in with a deeper message. There's also a rose that's coming in for you now. There's this long line of women on your mother's side that yeah, it's beautiful, and they're like coming in. It feels like a processional actually. To have you been doing deep ancestral healing? Have you
Um,
been doing work around the feminine?
I'm like just scratching the surface in this last like year, and I actually had a message come through last night of this feeling of like I really need to focus on connecting with my mom more.
Yes, beautiful, perfect. There's an open invitation, and it won't always feel easy. Sometimes you don't see each other, and there is this um self-preservation protection that you both hold with each other. Sometimes you both kind of open it. It feels like a shield. Sometimes you both open it and then you just kind of step back into it because there's a little bit of fear of pointing fingers. And you two have such a rich history and different timelines and different past lives. Okay. And this life is really about showing each other what the possibility is to grow the relationship that you hold. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is why there's yeah, this long line of women through your mother's side, and you are meant to heal those relationships because this isn't new to your lineage. Okay. Especially the mother-daughter. Um, it's like, did you know your grandmother?
Mm-mm.
Uh, what was her name? It feels like an R as well, or
Um,
there's a connection, a thread that you two have.
her last name is McCracken. Her first name,
It feels like a middle name. You can look into that later, but there's a tie and a connection that you two have and have had
Mhm.
in different lives, and she's with you to help you see what you haven't been able to see in your mom. Okay. And to also, and it's interesting because it's like skips a generation. It's like I see your mom's grandmother with her, and it's to help really heal what it is within the divine feminine and relationship to other divine feminine beings. And yeah, you're meant to heal that in this life, Renee. You're going to go deeper into that. within the next 18 months, they're saying. So allowing yourself to continue to open, it will feel very raw at times. And really, you might have a tendency to want to hide a bit behind, like they're showing me behind pillows, and kind of become a little recluse, right, to yourself, and private, again, self-preservation, protection. But to truly allow the courage that you have within to continue to open yourself up, to be in it, immersed in it, to not shy away and reject or resist the energy that you're in. Because it's like when you do, it's like a dance. You're the lead and your mom is following your lead. So as you are doing this dance, stay in it and she will follow. Should you turn away from her, she will feel that energy and turn away also. Okay. So is this resonating? How is
A
this feeling?
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mind's blown a little.
Yeah. Alyssa, what
Thank
about
you
you?
so much for that.
Yeah, of course. What question do you have for the records?
I'd love to know who's present for me, if there's any ancestors that have been trying to work with me as I've been calling them forward, or
You have
whatever's
a
present.
male energy actually, and I don't know if this is a particular ancestor because it's a bit nuanced for you. I see you in a past life in the land, indigenous, you're in the land, and in that life you are calling your ancestors, your which is very different because both your energies are very, very different. Alyssa, you're a bit more in this masculine energy right now, sitting in what it is for a bit of power and action, and like fortitude is what's coming through, and strength. You've been calling, and it makes sense actually that you're feeling a bit sick right now. There's stuff that's been coming up for you that has you dip. And they are saying, I know that this is kind of veering away from the question, but this is what we're trusting, right? All is meant to come in service of your highest self. You have to be nicer to yourself. Okay, you do. You have to be nicer to yourself. You have to give yourself more love. You have to be softer in that a lot of your life. And it's beautiful because of the work that you do now. It's been kind of encouraging you more. So I won't say forcing you, but encouraging you more so to ground and soften. Um, but it will begin to feel more natural once you actually claim the masculine like energy within you. There's been a lot of your life where you haven't claimed it. You've kind of pushed it away based on things, people in your life and your experiences. And so what they want for you is actually to claim it. And then as you claim it, there's more of a balance and you soften into it. Okay, you didn't know him. I don't know if it's your grandfather in this life, from your father's side, grandfather or great grandfather. Was there anybody in military or army on your father's side? I don't know. I just see a uniform.
I don't know my biological father's side.
Okay. Yeah, it feels, yeah, they told me, they're like, she doesn't know. She doesn't know us, but we're here. It feels like grandfather or great grandfather. It's not clear. It's like coming in and out. And there's a uniform. Um, and again, that's something about claiming the divine masculine in you to bring you to full balance, to feel all of your power in that harmony, like the sun and the moon, and being able to access the different energies in a way that still feels again in harmony and in coherence throughout. Is this making sense? Is this resonating for you?
Yeah, It makes sense.
Yeah. Do you have follow-up questions? Because it's like they want to give you more, but they want you, again, they want you to claim it. So they want you to ask more from it to claim it. And there's more information for you. But it's like, up
Yeah.
to you.
Do they have any tips on how to embody that energy or bring that to life?
It does feel it does feel very like, okay, thank you, Spirit. This is why they were showing me that life of yours from the earth. It feels very indigenous. It feels like a ceremonial, right? Bringing in practices in and of the earth to draw it out of you, animals, elementals, the earth, the dirt, like it just, yeah, because it feels very primal, and that's been some of the rejection throughout. It's also a bit tied with your sexuality, okay? So there is some of that that wants to come back in healing as well. So claiming all of that really fully brings you back into more balance. I would be what, okay, thank you. What I would, what they are suggesting, because now they're showing me like a dance and the chant, and you, it feels like in this life you were a warrior, but I only see you, I only see you dancing. So it's like you're really drumming up and bringing back like your ancestors. So like, yeah, a drum circle, like sound, primal, but again, mixed with elements of being in and of the earth would help bring that out for you. And that doesn't mean like go do ayahuasca and like, all of that, because you actually don't need it and they don't want you to go deeper in that route. They want you to allow your mind to take you to where you need to go by conscious choice. Okay. Because it's about that reclamation, conscious choice, harmony, and balance. How's that feel? How's that resonating?
That's beautiful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
good. Renee, do you have any other questions, or either of you have any other questions while we're in? We can check to see what's here.
You mentioned with my mom the like me opening to that energy and she'll follow.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering how I might have more time and connect deeper while still maintaining
That's a
my
great
own
question.
energy.
This is for everybody. It's perfect that you asked this. For you specifically, and I recommend this for everybody as well, we need to have protective measures around us. You need to make this a part of your practice, okay? So every morning when you're getting embodied, when you're really becoming in touch with what's here present, create a golden bubble, like an invisible golden bubble shield around you with mirrors around it that will deflect anything that's less than love, light, energy, anything less than your good for your higher self. We're saying we don't want it. That way, it helps preserve your own energy as well. And nothing can come like kind of siphon from you, because that's happening. And this happens a lot with, especially if we're empaths, right? We've been talking about that a little bit. Highly sensitive people, empaths, there's so much in the field energetically right now. So even if we speak to no one, but that's not really going to happen, right? If we have our days and we're like living a life as a recluse and we speak to no one, we're still impacted by the energy in the collective fields. Now you add in traffic, now you add in like going to shop, seeing family, talking to clients, meeting with people, right? And friends. Everybody's having a part of this energetic exchange that you're experiencing. So this isn't a recommendation for everybody. Protect your energy. Ensure, and this isn't to say like no harm, no negative anything, but just to protect yourself and ensure that you're staying in the highest level frequency for your highest good, and only what is meant for you will come to you if it is for your highest good. So do that. Also, what they're sharing with you specifically, Renee, is have these conversations and This could be also a good practice for everybody. Have conversations with people, especially if you're having a bit of an unharmonious experience with them, or if there's cords or contracts or attachments or things. Well, it kind of depends. So it gets a little nuanced. But in your case, have a conversation with your mom's highest self, your higher self with her highest self. Come to that place of higher consciousness and see what's there. Maybe you need an apology, and in the higher realm, she might want to give it to you, right? Or maybe you want to be able to share things with her that you never felt comfortable sharing with her in this physical 3D space, right? You can do that as your higher self in higher consciousness, and it will be received.
Mm,
And it can change the dynamic of the relationship you hold with people that you love in your life. So this is something for you, especially.
mm.
Yeah.
That feels good. And I feel my throat really activating as you say all of that. Like there's stuff there that is
There's
waiting to
truth.
be. Yeah.
There's truth, there's divine expression. Our number one chakra for most humans that is closed is our throat chakra, because people don't know how to speak their divine truth in safety. In safety. So speaking to someone's higher self, speaking to someone at a soul to soul level can also begin to open up your body and your throat chakra. So beautiful question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alyssa, anything else for you?
Um, any daily practices for me to tap into the divine masculine?
Yeah, they really want, like, it's all about earth, it's all about nature for you. Which is interesting because Mother Earth is a divine feminine energy, but there is something so primal about tapping into the energy and using it for action, right? There's something so masculine about it. So, yeah, there's a lot of energy moving through you. Just take a deep breath in through your throat and deep exhale. They're just clearing up some of the stuff that you have going on in your throat because you're really deep into process. And oh yeah, there's stuff that feels resonant here and your body's already starting to move. I don't know if you feel that within you, like, okay. So that's good. Keep doing that. Are you taking honey with your
I
tea?
put it in my coffee.
Okay, good. They're just saying more honey for you. More honey,
Okay.
honey. Okay, what spirit? Even listening to like Native American indigenous drum beats and things like that, and like kind of dancing around, allowing your body to move through it, and with the intention to tap into the masculine, and that'll help you. That'll help. But being with that part of you every day, holding the intention to be with that part of you every day will help you. There's more that's to come as you continue this journey. Just allow it to be. And when you are guided to take action, because you get this, you get guidance, you're connected. They're saying you hear. So when you take it, and when you take that aligned action, thank the divine masculine in you for taking that action. Okay. So really it is to befriend this part of you, because then you can start calling it back in and then embodying it more. Yeah. I hope that's
Mm,
helpful.
yeah. I've been working really hard to connect to my divine feminine this last year and my priestess energy. So hearing the masculine come forward and like that balance that needs to happen is kind of funny, but it makes sense.
It's because, and this could be something that resonates for all of us. It certainly resonates with me. They're saying that because of patriarchal systemic things, right, that we've had to undergo and experience, we as the feminine have rejected so much of that in ourselves because of what it brought to us, the harm that it has caused and brought to our beings and our natures, right? Our spirits and ourselves. And so we've been doing so much work. It is a period of the divine feminine in this greater awakening in this new earth. However, we cannot negate and forget the masculine. We have to bring it into balance. We have to be able to be with both. And that is something I think a lot of practitioners don't necessarily practice and bring into practice, is the balance of both. It's more like, okay, how do we heal? How do we bring back? How do we move through like the mother wound and the witch wound? And all of those things are important. I believe that to be true. But truly to feel that sense of wholeness, all of us, we can't forget that there is this big part of us that also wants to be expressed, also needs to feel in flow and in cohesion and in the world. And so balance and harmony is something that's why it's yin and yang. That's why it's sun and moon, right? We cannot have our light without our shadow without our light. And so it's just a reminder for all, is what they're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah. So thank you. It's very beautiful what's coming through today. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that there's messages mixed in here for everybody. So beautiful.
I wonder, can you share when you say like they're telling me, can you share with our listeners what that means? Is it like the gatekeepers, ascended masters? Like what is that?
It's interesting because I can be connected. I'm always on. I'm always on. I equate it to a dimmer switch, right? You're always on. You can never fully turn it off. I can turn it down a little bit depending on the context and the situation I'm in, but I'm always on. And so a lot of people that do this work, maybe working specifically with the record keepers, I like to go as high as I can go, as straight as I can go. So I'm not channeling a specific person. I can be told and given information from different things like guides and ancestors or higher selves that have come through today. But my practice is to go straight to source, to be in that highest conscious, so that I am in the most divine upholding of love and that frequency. Always, this is for everybody, always go higher. And it's about discernment. If there's any ego involved, which is anything around fear is ego based, go higher, go higher, go higher. And listen, this might change. Maybe a specific being will come and decide, okay, now you're channeling from this. But I just don't think so. I don't think so. So yeah, it's everyone and anything at different moments. I hope that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, are there any tips or practices that could be shared for us and our listeners for just tapping in and starting to open ourselves up to receiving more from divine, from our guides, from the energies that are beyond our 3D reality, and start to like develop that safety with the connection and that trust with the intuition and letting that information come through. I know that in our work, we've, at least for me, like I've gotten glimpses and downloads here and there. But I would love so much to move towards that more ever present dialogue that I can tap into whenever, or, and have that dial.
Yeah.
But right now it's like fleeting moments that I'm
Yeah.
chasing sometimes.
It's so interesting you asked that question. So I will do a little plug. I have a course called Awaken, and there's different levels. I'm actually starting the next class in July. So
Okay.
we will go through foundational things to ensure that your channel is clear to receive so that you can be in co-creation with spirit. What I will say and give as something that feels a little bit more tangible right now, it's about discernment. Okay. So where is the energy and what is it that you're feeling? Where is it coming from? Is it within you? Is it a trigger? Is it an imprint? Is it, actual trauma wound? Is it a reflection of somebody else? Right? What is it? So discernment is really important, but even before discernment, you got to be still to hear the discernment. So it really is about, I think I spoke about this in the beginning, where finding like who you are, understanding who you are is the it's the end all be all of everything. Healing yourself, ensuring you're releasing any untruth, coming to a sense of truly understanding that you're a divine being. You're a divine being. The God that you seek is the God within you, right? So going in, you don't just tap into a higher consciousness, you're actually tapping into the wisdom within yourself, within that part of you that's so divine and so pure and so loved and in love. And, joy is the highest frequency. We don't always, as humans, we can't stay in joy for very long, right? So finding a way to, my assumption is people that are listening to this podcast are already immersed in healing work and have kind of stepped into this world, which is very beautiful because we do need different access points, right? There's experiences for everybody. Like Akashic Records may be a new experience for you, but it's an incredible tool that's personal for you. It's like the most personal thing that you can have. But being able to understand what you hold, what you carry, what is yours, what is not yours, understanding that you have to get to stillness first to get to that. And then you can discern, and then you can hear and see and feel and touch and smell and, receive the messages and the insights and the wisdom from the divine. If your mind is noisy, if your external world is noisy, come to a place of stillness. This is why we breathe first, right? Before we go into anything. This is why we ground into our being, because we want to get really present. So get present, get still, and discern. Start there and then see what is available for you and how it comes through. And it's pretty magical.
So magical. I love it. Thank you.
Yes.
Is there anything you need to do to close the records?
Yes, I would like to. It feels like there might be something that comes up after our recording, so I might actually want to keep them open.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. But what I typically do for your listeners is that I will breathe us back out, allow kind of the integration of the wisdom, the healing to come through. And then I do a short little close of the records. And then, yeah. And then that's it. Trust that even if something may not resonate now, there's still something percolating in your body. The resonance is truth reflected of the divine, right? So if there's action, there's like activity moving in your body, there might just be a coming back into balance of your mind, because your mind's taking in new information, your mind is taking in this new experience, and our mind has done a really amazing job of keeping us safe, right? In this new version of us, that job may no longer suffice and it might need a new way of being. But this is another tip I want to give to all of your listeners. If you feel any resistance, if you feel any fear, the best thing to do is to speak to your intellect and give it acknowledgement. Thank you, mind. Thank you, intellect, for holding so much capacity to make sure I'm safe, for being so on top of things, for allowing new information in, for making sure I don't miss anything. Whatever it is, give your mind that loving acknowledgement, because only then can it start to relax. Only then can it start to create space and breathe and actually be receptive to new information, new experiences, because it's meant to and has been trained to be guarded. What is it taking in? What is not safe, right? So always like give your mind love, and it can happen in an instance. And I see it and I feel it all the time. Once my clients start doing it, okay, their whole body starts to relax, more information and guidance come through, more healing is able to take place. So yeah, doing that. Yeah, and I think that's it for that.
Amazing. Where can our listeners find you? Are you on Instagram or do you have a website?
I'm on all the things you have to be these days, right? So LeilaniLucero.com. I am Leilani Lucero on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on all of the things. If anybody is interested in going deeper in love for self, I am doing a limited summer healing series. It's a summer of self-love. So we begin on the summer equinox, that's June 20th. It's like a 3-part healing transmission series and one Akashic Records session with me, which is worth more than the actual program. So if this is something that resonates with your listeners and you want to have a new experience, I really encourage you to do this. It's a summer of self, a summer of reclaiming who you are in love. And yeah, come find me or reach out to these amazing girls and they'll redirect you as needed.
Yeah, we'll put some links in the bio.
Perfect. So to our listeners, thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a beautiful rest of the day. And thank you so much for joining us, Leilani. It's been beautiful, beautiful Akashic record reading and chat. And we're so honored to have you on.
Thank you so much.